I sold all of my son's electronic devices and clothing because he bullied a girl who was battling cancer. After the end of this academic year, my son, who is currently 15 years old, will be a sophomore in high school. I am 38 years old. I was 23 years old when I gave birth to my son. He was my first child. It is unfortunate that my son's father left when he was 5 years old and never returned. It has been years since I have heard from his father. My son has been getting into trouble with the law as of late. To tell you the truth, I am completely at my wit's end. I don't know what to do. The new friends that my son got have been nothing but a source of trouble for him. Shoplifting from stores, skipping school, and being a smartass as a whole are all things that my son and his friends have done. On May 9th, my son subjected a girl who had lost her hair to bullying. Her treatment consists of chemotherapy because she has cancer. While the girl was seated in class, my son made the decision to rip her scarf from her head. The things that he and his friends said to her were extremely hurtful. The poor girl was already being bullied, and my son made the situation even worse. I was called to the school premises. In order to get to the office, they brought both my son and the girl. A short time after they called me, I arrived at the location. The teacher and the principal explained the situation. At the same time, the mother of the girl whom he bullied was present. I asked for the mother's phone number from her. She was given my phone number. I advised her that no matter what she required, she should not be afraid to ask for it. Due to his behavior of bullying, my son was given 2 days of in-school suspension. My son and I arrived home, and I was in a state of rage. I lost it. I entered his room and took every electronic device that was there. I took his laptop, his iPhone 13, and his PlayStation 5. In addition, his Hollister jeans and Nike shirts. I took his name brand shoes and jackets. I also took his Hollister jeans. I grounded him on an indefinite basis. After 3 days, I was able to sell his electronic devices at a substantially reduced price. For my son, I went to Walmart and purchased some clothes and shoes from Goodwill. Someone will not be bullied by him, and he will not get away with it. I handed the money over to the mother so that she could purchase a wig for her daughter. To my knowledge, the only things that are present in my son's room are his bed, drawers, a mirror, and a shelf of books. In addition to that, I took away his art supplies. As a result of this, my relatives on my mother's side of the family do not communicate with me. It has been 2 weeks as far as I'm aware. Simply put, I have the impression that there was a possibility that I was unfairly harsh. He is not permitted to leave the house under any circumstances. In addition to that, he is not permitted to hang out with his friends. In what other way could he learn? He was cruel, and we can only hope that this is a turning point in his life where he can transform into a compassionate and kind individual. It would appear that the relatives on my mother's side ought to go meet the mother who is afflicted with cancer in order to comprehend the seriousness of the situation by themselves. I don't believe that they have any comprehension of how terrible this actually was. With no doubt, he will be attending therapy. It was necessary for me to explain to him in a straightforward manner exactly what he had done in order for him to comprehend the full extent of his actions, and the fact that it is in no way humorous to humiliate a girl who is fighting for her life. I told him that she would literally lose her hair in an effort to stay alive and find a cure for the disease that was attempting to kill her. It was a cowardly thing to do to pick on a girl who was making herself sick in order to survive, and I was disappointed and disgusted because I had raised him better. This disease is difficult for adults, let alone a child. Losing one's hair is a challenging life experience for a girl or woman. My response to him was that it was not her fault that she had lost her hair. I told him that a girl's hair is very important to her, and that it was difficult for her to lose it. I also told him some other things. I explained to him that she already has a negative perception of her appearance, and he made it even worse. Even if you raise someone perfectly, they still have their own free will and are susceptible to the influence of others. As I am confident that he is capable of bettering himself, I have decided to enroll him in therapy. If only more parents would respond in this manner when confronted with the bullying behavior of their child, I would be satisfied. There are far too many parents who justify it and allow it to continue. My son experienced the realization that actions have repercussions. I will not allow him to behave in a domineering manner. When I was a child, I was bullied, and I will not tolerate it in my own home. Earlier, I had a lengthy conversation with my son, and I believe that I have a good understanding of the reasons behind his behavior. Following his bullying of the girl who was bald and suffering from cancer, I recently grounded my son, who is 15 years old, and took everything away from him. In order to provide him with an outlet, I returned his art supplies to him. I am providing him with the opportunity to make amends and to earn back electronic devices and other items. Once he demonstrates a change in behavior, I will be purchasing new electronic devices for him to replace the ones that I sold as a replacement. A discussion took place between us earlier. It was revealed to me by my son that he is gay and that he is being bullied. Because he had the impression that he did not have any other friends, he desired to align himself with his new friends. My son shared with me how he is experiencing feelings of isolation. Because of this, I felt terrible about being so critical of him. Soon, he will begin engaging in psychotherapy. Does anyone who has a child who identifies as LGBTQ have any advice for me on how to handle this situation? He is going to be working as a bagger for groceries on a part-time basis, and I will be the one to drive him to and from work. The following week, he will begin his new job. Additionally, I spoke with the girl's mother, and she is doing much better. And just recently, my son came out as well. Because of his sexual orientation, he has been subjected to harassment, and he wanted to fit in with his new friends. All of his new friends were bullies and people who caused trouble. I had a conversation with my son, and he expressed that he is truly appalled by what took place. My son is eager to make amends with her and make things right. It was a kind gesture on his part to offer to shave his head for her. I suppose that after I took a firm stance against him, he behaved in a completely different manner. I have a lot of pride for him. He has not yet earned my complete trust, which is necessary for him to have access to electronics. I will purchase a new phone and computer for him as soon as he demonstrates that I can once again put my complete trust in him. Absolutely. Being gay in high school is a challenging experience. However, this does not give anyone the right to take their frustrations out on another person. Because of the internet, high school seems to be a much more difficult experience now. Even when the only condition we had was attention deficit sought hyperactivity disorder, children would still bully and harass one another. I am unable to conceive of it at this moment. In my high school, students who were marginalized were fortunate to have an administrator who actually cared about them, as many administrators do not. Through the use of the internet, it is now much simpler than ever before to harass other people without putting your name or face on it. To tell you the truth, it is extremely frightening because there is not nearly as much that you can do when you do not know who is behind it. By the time a child reaches middle school, the parents have lost a significant amount of control, and the children begin to be influenced more by their peers. Nevertheless, it is unfortunate that there are times when friends are not the best, and the behavior of hive mind boys can fester in a particular dynamic. The majority of the time, when you leave these boys alone, they are completely fine. Nevertheless, they all have a way of bringing out the worst in one another. The good news is that in the grand scheme of things, children can be saved by good parenting, but it will be extremely challenging, particularly if your child is defiant.
Oh my god. I heard Anna's 10 is totally fake. So embarrassing.